We're a small company. There was 4 people in 1999. Today we are 16 people, and soon within the next few months we'll be 20 people. When we were 4 people, clearly it was not possible to be everywhere in the world, and it's very difficult for a company such as ours to support such investment in travel and market cultivation. So one of the key ways was to actually to take our customers to our new customers and prospective customers. So we basically interviewed our existing references in a broad selection, and took their stories and expertise to the market. Traditionally what would happen is we would have a contact with a client, we'd be talking to them, maybe the first point of contact would involve a presentation, and we would use the CD as part of that presentation sequence to take some of our existing references to them. So we could say, well, you have a particular operation here, it's very similar to the operation in Belgium, in Europe, and here is the operation in Belgium, Europe, in your room, in your office, and we're in the middle of Brazil or something like that. It then gave them the confidence that if they were to travel and spend money of their own money and travel to Europe or other places in the world to see our references, they knew they existed, they were real, they were tangible, and they weren't just something on a piece of paper. We've used it in a variety of different ways. We've used it as a direct mailing tool. So, for example, when we made the CD, we used the CD on the front page of an aluminium journal, which was circulated 6,000 copies around the world, and it formed part of our front page on that journal. It put the company in the world market as a very strong and recognised brand. Another example is at conferences and trade shows where we exhibit on stands. We would give out the CD selectively or en masse, depending on the type of conference and the audience that you were delivering this to. Brochures become dated. They're quite a stale tool. They give you information, they have a purpose, but a CD gives you an awful lot more interaction. It gives you a lot more living experience. You're actually hearing and listening to the operator of that cast house, in our particular circumstance, talking about the benefits he got.
The beauty of the interactive CD, and we're actually even looking at doing an interactive CD that would actually take the place of a PowerPoint presentation, or maybe enhance it. What happens with a PowerPoint presentation, and especially with a technical presentation, you generally have a room full of technically minded people, engineers and whatnot, metallurgists, and you do a PowerPoint presentation leading up to make some points. Before you can get to the first point, you get 3 or 4 questions that would be answered in the middle of your presentation. Well, you do the normal thing. You say, well, please hold the question, I'm going to that one. 2 slides later, you get 3 more questions. Inevitably, you get sidetracked. You never get all your points made. And so the interactive CD with the narrative type content, they see that first, then you could answer the questions, and generally all your points have been made.
Back in 2001, we had a very strong competitor in Metallics, who actually bought us in 2001. And I never forget the example that my boss cited, my boss who from the company that acquired us cited, when he was evaluating whether they should buy us or not. He said he was at a sales conference, their annual sales conference in the US, and one of their European sales representatives from Italy, Pierre Montani, approached the sales meeting. There was about 30 or 40 people there, and after 2 days of discussions and talking about different marketing tools and approaches and brochures and publicity packs and mail shots and all the usual gambits that most companies get into discussing, this Italian, in a very Italian sort of way, started waving this CD up in the air and said, this is what we should have, this is what I'm up against. And with that, they put it onto the machine and blew it up onto the main projector, and there was all these customers talking about the benefits of their competitor's system.
Well, we were in the sales meeting, and our European colleagues waved the CD in the air and said, this is what our competitors are doing. And they played the video with the interactive testimonials and the product descriptions. And when the video was over, there was a silence in the room for some time. and the president of our company looked at our marketing manager and said, I want a CD just like that, just with our equipment, in 60 days. And within 12 months' time of the sales meeting and seeing the CD, Metallic Systems and Rick Chandler, we purchased EMP as part of our companies.
They all said, this is what we need ourselves, and straight away bought the company and then also instigated a similar CD themselves for their own purposes. The salesman is only one component in the cog that wins an order. He's got a whole team behind him of resources and people, and really what sells your product is not the salesman, is not the company, it's your existing references, and its references sell future business. So the best way of getting future sales is to get your prospective customers to visit your references and let your references talk about the benefits. Now, so what we have found with the CD is it has taken our references to our customers at a relatively low investment cost, i.e. our customers do not have to travel to see them, at least not initially, and I would say we have probably received more orders as a result of taking those references through the CD to our prospective customers around the world, so that they have then made decisions to come and visit our references, which they would not have made before, and then we've got into the situation of they've seen the reference, they've seen the benefits, and they've bought the system.
The other positive fact here is if you've got 100 salesmen worldwide selling your product, every one of those salesmen has a different style, a little different twist, but inevitably a lot of them will miss some certain points that are important and need to be made. If they have the interactive CD, all those points are made. Not only that, it's inexpensive. It's cheaper than a brochure. You leave it with the customer. If he forgets something, a week later, 2 weeks later, he throws it in his computer and he's got it all, all the time. So I think it's one of the greatest marketing tools I've ever seen.
When we began marketing our company overseas, which is 2 or 3 years ago, we began in the traditional route of sending out mail shots and using standard brochures. But recently we've been using the CD presentation. We've sent it out as direct mail where we would have sent a brochure in the past. We've used it face-to-face quite effectively. If you're opening a meeting with a presentation of your company and its products, to be able to sit down with a laptop computer and just show people this and then talk about it is a tremendous introduction. And at exhibitions, we've been using them where you might normally use brochures, and at the same time have the CD in a laptop on the exhibition stand so that it can be looked at by anyone that's coming by. The way it's been produced for us, it's interactive. It allows the customer to actually use it, and whilst they're using it, they discover more parts of the CD, so therefore they're inevitably thinking more about the company, so it helps them to appreciate us more. I think it's a tremendous advantage because it's very important for us to establish ourselves with our overseas customers as something other than simply an address or possibly one man and a fax machine. The CD gives an impression of the reality of the company, and it does much more than a brochure can do, in as much as it gives you sound and moving pictures and basically takes the customer and puts him in your premises. I think it makes a difference, particularly overseas. I think people, a lot of the customers that we're seeing for the first time like to be given something, whether it be a gift or any kind of item. And the very fact that you give and take something means it's likely to be used and looked at, whereas if you just give someone the address of a website, there's no guarantee that that will ever even be looked at. The important thing is that you have to establish trust with any customer, but with an overseas customer even more, because as far as they know, you might well just be a name in a telephone directory somewhere. You could be representing a multinational company, or you could be representing yourself. So it's important to establish exactly what you are and what you're doing. Having a picture in a brochure is a good start, but actually having a a CD presentation which has moving pictures and sounds and builds up the realities is very important. And it's actually crucial when you're trying to tell someone to, or ask someone to spend 20, 30, 40,000 pounds with you on a first meeting. That trust is so important, and I think the visual presentation which comes with the CD is key to that.
The problem we have as a business is that we are a relatively small player in the world stage. We're a family-owned business. Most of our competitors are multinationals. So we really needed something that was going to differentiate us and give us a professionalism that our competitors didn't have. I mean, the problem with a brochure, as everybody knows, is that you print 3,000 copies of them, and almost before they're printed, they're out of date. People change, specifications change, new products are introduced. What this has enabled us to do in the last 2 years, we've brought out special editions for exhibitions in wind energy. We've brought out one for our international division that was set up in Dubai, and we're able to tailor it very quickly by just taking the component parts out of it and using those bits we want for new presentations to our customers. We have here in Stoke-on-Trent one of the largest steel processing facilities in the UK. If you're out in South Africa, it doesn't mean a lot, but you're able to take that works and show you're not a virtual stockholder, you're a real steel stockholder and processor. And it takes the customer into our premises. That's the real secret of it. I think the thing we found the most useful was the case studies, where these are real customers that were saying real things about us. And if somebody doesn't know you, the best advert is always from somebody else. And they were well-known international companies. They were saying what they felt about us, and I think that gave us a credibility that we wouldn't have had otherwise. When we set off with this, one of our key targets was the renewable energy sector, and the largest manufacturer of wind turbines in the world is a company called Vestas, based in Campbelltown in Scotland. It's about 300 or 400 miles away from Stoke-on-Trent. We went up there, we did a presentation to them, and this was the major plank on showing them what we had and the facilities that we had. Plus, it also had a very good case study of one of their suppliers. That helped us win business worth £3 million last year, our single biggest customer. We have a very large group of customers. They find us often on the internet, and then we follow up with a brochure and a CD, and what a brilliant way to travel 13,000 miles and show them exactly what we have here.